Hello there, Clancy here. I'm sitting in my apartment in Warsaw. It's quite sunny, but it's still winter. Anyway, I wanted to do an instructional video on chord tones. Soloing, putting substance in your solos, or in my solos perhaps. And when I was a young kid, back in the small town where I grew up, I was heavily influenced by Mark Knopfler, and then I went to the local music shop one day, which doubled as an electronics parts shop, and I had read about a player called Yngwie Malmsteen in Guitar Player magazine. There was a cassette. There's actually two cassettes by Yngwie Malmsteen in this music shop. I bought one of them, came home, listened to it, ran out, bought the other one, came home, listened to it, and it turned my whole guitar world upside down. So I pursued this idea of playing fast, which was a brand new thing for me, and I spent many hours doing this. But when it came to the point where I decided that playing fast is nice, but I want the same kind of substance in my solos as, for example, Hotel California by the Eagles. The solo in that has some really nice notes, and I want to kind of go in that direction as well. I found out the way that I could kind of go in that direction is adding chord tones. So this video is about that kind of thing, and hopefully you may already know this, but this may be kind of new for you and give you some new ideas on this. So if we take a progression, this tired old progression of A, D, E, D, A. Now, if I want to play a solo over that, I can just take those particular shapes and use the chord tones. Now, it's not exactly Chopin, is it? Not at all. So we need to know how to spice it up, and that's what we'll do here. But the big problem that my students often have with this is, yes, they can find the notes, but they forget to change when the bar changes. I mean, when it goes to D, you need to start playing the chord tones for D. When it goes back up to E, you need to change to E. So you have to make sure that you change on the bar, and that's usually the biggest problem. But let's stretch this out. Okay, so we've got our A shape. Let's just work with A for now. That's an E shape. It looks like the E shape. If we go to an A shape, we find it's here, or if you go up 12 frets, here. There's also a G shape situated on the second fret, and that sits on top of the A shape. And then we go over up to our E shape, and then also I'm adding, with this E shape, I'm also adding another note in there. It just sends it up. And since this note is on the E string, this note here will also of course be there. Now if you're a shredder, you will have come across this shape. Now what I'm playing there is a C shape on the 9th, with the bow on the 9th fret, and a C shape. Also on the 9th fret, I can play a D shape as well. And then we're up to our A shape on the 14th fret. So, the idea is that you get used to that shape. Okay, get used to that shape. Now, of course, you want to not just play major, but you also want to play minor. Okay, the minor is simply like an A minor shape, but you add this note, and you've got like your A minor shape there. It's like your typical A minor shape. It's got this note. Now going back to our if we use this concept of playing all over the neck, and we go from A to D to E, we can get this kind of effect. So you get a lot more, that gives you the building blocks for substance. Now, you may want to add another note, because another note will give you a bit more colour. For example, you may want to add a seventh note. The seventh note is found underneath the root note. Here's my A. So if I add this and start playing around with the seventh note as well as the triad, I get this kind of thing. So that's kind of a nice sound. You may want to add the 4. The 4 is, you've seen this before, if you played this D suspended, that note is a 4. So if you go take the D shape on your A, here, here's your 4, and you can sort of like, in fact, one of my early licks was so I used to try and fit in every time I could by adding the 4. So you can add the 4, you can add the 7, and let's take another progression. Let's take this progression here. 3, 4. So I'm playing A major 7 to E flat 7. Now they don't really work. Well, there is scales that will fit this, but if we want to try and get some substance with chords, let's just try it. So you can see, like, just I made a bit of a mistake there, but you can see that, like, you can really capture the chord progressions. Now, you may be thinking, what about all these fast licks that I learned? How can I use this with this? Well, just use the chord tones. For example, if I take this kind of idea, I can start there by starting on a chord tone. Now obviously that's not going to fit within one bar, so I might want to just take 4 chunks of that and or maybe just or maybe sounds kind of nice. So I can use that, like, for example, see what I'm doing there? So I create, now the idea behind this is that you create licks based off chords rather than off scales, you know what I mean? So you actually capture chord tones, giving your playing a lot more substance. And of course you can use bends going into chord tones. That kind of thing. These will give you epic notes. And of course they'll fit the chords, the progression. So you can take any worship song or any pop song that you like, take the 4 chords and just solo using chord tones, and that will really help you to get familiar with the chords, because often the A chord will come up, A major will come up all sorts of times. So it's good to start with that. So if you have never done this, this will may give you a bit of something to try out at home. This video is a precursor to many other videos that I'm going to be doing. That will also be promoting the launch of my new software product that I've been working on for 2 years, and I'm not sure when it will be out, but there'll be all sorts of videos online for people who have the software. I'll do some more videos